please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have a number of appointments this evening to make. Mr. Mandelbaum, will you be? He has one, okay. Mr. Zorn?
The item that I passed out, I'll cover under the administrator's portion of the agenda. Oh, thank you. Mr. Chairman, this evening, we are requesting council to approve the appointment of Charles Watson as a city constable within the building department. Mr. Watson is here, as well as Ed Gardella from the building department.
Is your mic on?
We can't hear you.
If you could introduce Mr. Watson and.
Sure. This is Chuck Watson. He's our newest building inspector. We recently had a retirement of a longtime building inspector, Don Jones. And Chuck has moved up very quickly, and we need him to be constablized because he's the senior building inspector at this point.
All righty.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Mandelbaum.
I'd like to move the appointment of Charles Watson as a city constable.
Support.
Been moved by Mr. Mandelbaum and supported by Mr. Frazier that we appoint Charles Watson as the city constable. Are there any questions? All in favor? Oh, yes, Ms. Morris.
I just wanted to know how many constables you have.
5.
5. Thank you.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
Get you sworn in.
All right,
Raise
congratulations.
your right hand. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of this state, and the city charter, and I will faithfully discharge the office of city constable to the best of my abilities.
I do. Thank you.
Oh, we got a whole bunch of them.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Mandelbaum.
Thank you, Mr. President. Boards and Commissions Subcommittee met a couple weeks ago, and we have a couple appointments and reappointments to various commissions in the city. As I call your name, please come on up if you are present. I did see some members here. We'd like the reappointment of Loretta Manisto to the Administrative Civil Service Commission, the reappointment of Eric Edward to the Board of Review, the reappointment of Jim Lemire to the Building Authority, the reappointment of Brian Crago to the Public Arts Commission, reappointment of Veronica Leonard to the Total Living Commission, reappointment of Dr. Rodney Carruthers to the Veterans Commission, the reappointment of Gregory Pulliam to the Veterans Commission, the appointment of Gerard Cunningham to the Commission on Senior Adults, and the appointment of Deborah Smith to the Commission on Senior Adults.
Council?
Mr. President,
Mr. Frazier.
I move that we approve the appointments and the reappointments as presented to us this evening by the
Support.
chairperson of the boards and commissions.
Support. It's been moved by Mr. Frazier, supported by Mr. Brightwell, that we approve the appointments as listed on our agenda, on tonight's agenda. And reappointments, yes. Are there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Appointments and reappointments have been approved.
Everybody just raise your right hand for me. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the state, and the city of charter, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of in the city of Southfield, state of Michigan, according to the best of my abilities.
Once you all have signed the book, we'd like to ask each of you all to come up as well to greet the council and mayor staff.
Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to recognize Mr. Gregory Pulliam. He's a charter member of the Veterans Commission of the City of Southfield. He goes all the way back to 2004. So Mr. Pulliam loved veterans, and he and I were charter members of the commission. I'm glad to see that he's carrying forward and continuing the tradition.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I better put you down with my right. You want to push me down the stairway.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. How you doing? You want it? Come see me. Oh, the other one.
All right, we will we will now move to the consent agenda. Council, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve consent agenda items A through G.
Support.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Morris, supported by Councilwoman Taylor, that we approve consent agenda items A through G. Are there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Items approved. I would just like to say for those that are watching on TV that the consent agenda items are being scrolled on Channel 15 after the meeting. So because we don't go through them in detail necessarily here, although we've talked about them in our study session, we still want to make sure that we're being as transparent as possible. So if you are watching at home, know that you can see more detail on the consent agenda items immediately following the meeting tonight and any night. Moving on to public hearings. We have two public hearings this evening. Shelley has both of these here. We'll go
Good
item A.
evening, Mr. President, Honorable Board. Yes, as you stated, we have two public hearings today. 20777 East Street LLC and Nick and Company LLC have requested the establishment of an industrial development district for 20777 East Street, 20901 East Street, and 20941 East Street. These are the properties that the Reforma Group has purchased, and we have a short PowerPoint presentation. And Vesna, take cannot pronounce her last name, is here on behalf of her company, the Reforma Group. Vesna has over 20 years of experience within the cosmetic industry, and she has done an outstanding job of creating a phenomenal company right on East Street. The Reforma Group started in December of 2008. It's a woman-owned company that creates private label, personal care manufacturing of premier products. She's very passionate about using leading-edge technology and ingredients to help advanced and effective products. All of these products are organic, using that best quality of products for skincare, body care, hair, cosmetics, and it's all organic and FDA approved. This private label company is able to create small run products as well as do work for major run, yes, please, development. Thank you. There we go.
So I'm sure, as you guys heard
I'm
me,
going to introduce yourself.
I'm Vesna Joseph. By the way, I'm the owner of Reforma Group. So basically, what we do is we manufacture and develop anything in a cosmetic world. We started in 2077 East Street. We're expanding. We're actually making smaller batches in that building, and we're growing so fast that we actually purchased the other 3 buildings on that street. We're in the process of renovating them because we're working with retailers. The organic world is growing. It's going to be about $24 billion by 2024. So we're capitalizing and trying to grow as much as we can. I'm really passionate about the industry. I've been doing it my whole life. I feel like this is my calling, and I enjoy it every day. I love working with people. It's something that I've done since I've been in this, pretty much since I graduated college. So my vision is to grow it and hopefully grow it bigger as much as I can. So
as she stated, the opportunity became available for her to purchase the adjacent properties and create and expand it to 65,000 square feet.
And just quickly, I'm sorry. The reason for the expansion is we're really growing at this stage where, like I said, we just got into retail. We're launching, please support us, May 19th, we're launching something huge, 28 products in a huge retailer. So the growth has been really, really crazy for us. So the opportunity became where we got lucky where the buildings became for sale, and we took the opportunity and purchased them, and we're in the process of renovating them. The growth has been really tremendous for us.
So the purchase price and the investment in the facilities is about $2 million, and then the new technology is another $800,000 initially, and then ongoing expansion of new technology and facility upgrades over the next 5 years. So the Reforma Group is seeking a 5-year personal property tax abatement on 100% of the personal property only, which will have a 5-year impact on the city taxes that for her company of $260,000. Now, as we noted at the committee of the whole meeting, this will not negatively impact the city's budget, nor will it negatively impact the school district's budget. This the state of Michigan set a baseline for the amount of dollars that we can receive back to the city budget in 2012. So all the new investment that's coming into the community is going to the state, but it's not coming back to the city budget. So this will have no effect on the city budget whatsoever. Again, the plan is that they currently have 40 employees. They're looking to pretty much double the amount of employees at the location, and then again continuing to make investments over the next 5 years, and hopefully past that in the future as she continues to dominate the cosmetic field.
Hopefully.
So I think that's the end of our presentation. So at this time, so again, we would need to establish the industrial development district for the entire site, which would be one public hearing. It's your pleasure to vote on it, and if it's approved, then open up another public hearing to put her request for the 5-year tax abatement in that district.
All right, I'd like to open up the public hearing. Any residents that would like to speak to this matter only, please come to the lectern. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Council. Pamela Gerald, P.O. Box 155, Southfield, Michigan, 48037-0155. My telephone number is 248-346-0439. For probably about 38 years, I've been involved in the city of Southfield. Tax abatement started, if my memory serves me correctly, in about 1998. And for most of those tax abatements, I was always against them because the people that were applying for the tax abatements, like Lear and Denzel, they're billion-dollar companies, and I think it was just a tool to save them some money as opposed to what the real purpose is. I can say tonight, I'm in favor of this tax abatement, and I'm in favor for a couple of reasons. We have a lot of old infrastructure in the city of Southfield, and we need people to come in and develop this old infrastructure. I like the fact that it's a female company, female owned, which it's a really big thing now for 2019 to have companies headed by females. But the other thing is the fact that all of what the process is going to do in terms of making these cosmetics, they're all organic. And I know that they're going to follow all of the labor laws, all of the rules and ordinances that Southfield has in place. But I'm just overjoyed that it's not more industrial, meaning like manufacturing. I think sometimes a city can overpopulate itself with manufacturing, with check cashing places. This is something different. And I wish you well. I'm very impressed. And since she speaks Yugoslavic, I want to say Hvala Menderes.
God bless you. All right, the public hearing is still open. If there's anyone that'd like to speak to item A under public hearings, please come forward. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Honorable Council. My name is Marcy Turner. My address is 21700 Mott Avenue, Southfield, Michigan, 48075. And I'd just like to speak briefly on, we just talked about in the chambers, the problems with the golf course and money, finances. There's not enough money to do what needs to be done to get a course that I happen to golf at, beach. Now I won't be able to golf there if it's closed. And where am I going to golf at? I golf there every year. Abatements aren't healthy when a city is struggling in its finances, which Southfield appears to be doing. So we've got a road problem, trying to get the roads repaired. We've got golf course problems. I don't know what other problems are going on. We really don't need to be abating personal property taxes or any other real property taxes in this city until we can be more fiscally responsible in terms of the needs of the city of Southfield. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Yolanda Haynes. I reside at 24501 Kensal, and I'd like to say congratulations. It is so important in the city of Southfield that we maintain and keep viable businesses. It's great that we have a woman-owned business. The importance of businesses brings tax money to the city. And I know sometimes people fuss and argue about those things, but when you really start understanding some of this, it's important that we draw people and keep people, businesses in the city of Southfield. So I think this is a great idea. Welcome you. And on behalf of the chamber, we'd like for you to be a part of us as well. Connect with us as well. Thank you.
there any other residents that would like to speak to item A? If not,
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Public Hearing is closed. Yes, Mr. Cassie.
before I make the motion, Mr. Chairman, I would like to let the council know I've met with the owners of these properties. I went there and visited the condition of the street. It needs a lot of help. I was assured by the administrator that they'd go in there and get that road straightened out in that neighborhood and get a street sign put up. So with that being on the record, I will so move this item.
Support.
All right, it's been properly moved and properly supported that we approve the establishment of an international development district for this development. Are there any questions? Yes.
I'd like to speak to the owner. Women of color have different skin tones than Caucasians.
Sure.
Do your cosmetics fit the skin tones of women of color? And if not, do you plan to?
Yes. So.
Yes to what? I really asked two
Sorry.
questions.
Did you ask, are we planning on developing products for women of color?
Yes.
Yes, the answer is yes. Reason for that is, as the pollution, as the environment changes, things like that, women of color and just people in general, their skin tone changes, obviously. And actually, the retailers that I'm working with, we're actually working in conjunction. What better state to be in than Detroit, right? They're actually coming in. We're planning on expanding and doing a research lab to actually do skin research and hair research. My background is in hair. So that is really, I've worked for John Fried, I've done a lot of research, I've developed some of the top brands in hair care. So they actually look up to me personally to come in and develop those brands. So I have a vision to do that, just because there's not a lot of people that have done this for women of color, and that is actually one of the things that I would like to do with the retailer that I'm working with. So it's not going to happen tomorrow. There's a lot of research, but that is one of the things that I would like to do, yes.
But also, one of the benefits of Reform Group is private companies like dermatologists or large national brands hire her to create products under their label. And that's, so you
Yep.
do a wide range of products currently.
So what we do is we develop and manufacture products for other people under their label. So they come to us and they're like, okay, they give us a project brief, and our job is to tell them how large the market category is and what the shares are, and all they give us is an idea, and we do the rest. So, but that is a big market. As you can tell, Rihanna has done a great job. Kudos to her. And we would love to do something in that category as well. We do have women of color that work for me, and I look up to them, and actually that's one of our goals, is to do something like that.
Very good, because that is important.
It is very important. I'm European, so I tell people all the time, to me it's the soul that matters. So we're all people, and I would love to, when we build this new buildings that we have, we're gonna throw something really like just a kind of a opening ceremony or something like that. I welcome you guys to come in. We want to be a part of the community. We want to grow. I love women. I want to support not only women of color, but any woman. Really, we're all the same in my opinion. We're all people. So I would love to do that, and I welcome you guys.
Of course, it's all dollars.
Yeah. Everyone's green, right?
But, you know, a lot of times people think that people of color, but especially women of color, don't have enough revenue to spend on things, but that's a fallacy.
I agree with you on that. I totally agree. And here's the funny thing, and we can talk about this offline. Anytime you want to come to my office, we can talk about markets, we can talk about skincare, hair care, anything. So here's the thing, that is a huge market category that a lot of people have missed, and a lot of people are missing. That's why I really have, my vision, what I'm good at is relationships, and that's what business is all about, and that's what life is all about. If you don't have relationships, you don't have anything.
Good.
So what I'm really passionate about is building those relationships. And that's why these retailers, when you build these relationships, they tend to trust you, and you have the experience and background to back it up. That's what they want. They are missing such a big market right now. So that's what I want to do. I want to tap into, it shouldn't just be Shea Moisture. It shouldn't be just few of them. It should be a lot more. So that is really something that I would like to do in the future with these guys.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we had a motion by Mr. Fukasi, supported by Ms. Taylor, that we approve the establishment of this industrial development district for Plant Rehabilitation and Industrial Development District Act 74. Are there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? All right. So now we'd like to,
I do just want to reiterate to the city council, to the audience, that once again, any abatement that we offer to a company that's expanding or coming into the community has no negative effect on the city's budget. Again, it would not have any positive effect on the city's budget either, because we're not going to be getting any more personal property into our into the city. So it has no effect. It's neutral for the school system as well. It's based on a 2012 figure that and that's the base value that we're going to receive. So I just want to reiterate that.
all right,
That
thank you.
we will be receiving new taxes on the new development and the expansion of her new facility.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Mr. Frazier?
I know we know it, and you know it, Shelley. But once again, would you make it clear that it's personal property?
That's correct. What we're seeking right now is 100% abatement on new personal property to the state of Michigan for a 5-year term. And it, again, will be abating over that 5 years approximately $260,000 of tax dollars. But it will not have any negative effect on the city's budget or on the school district. So the city receives a certain allocation from the state, and we are not going to receive any more or any less based on any abatements that we do. So it's not going to affect any other budgets.
All right, so I'd like to open up the public hearing for item B on the tax abatement. If there's anyone that'd like to come speak to this issue, you can come to the lectern. You have 3 minutes. I think we already covered it, but if you have something else to say, you're more than welcome.
Pamela Gerald, P.O. Box 155, Southfield, Michigan, 48037-0155. My telephone number is 248-346-0439. As I stated earlier, I am normally not in favor of tax abatements, but because this company, Reforma, is taking property that has a very old infrastructure and turning it into something that I'm hoping would be dynamic. I'm totally in favor of that, the type of business that's going to be there. But more importantly, I'd like for her to speak to the fact as to whether or not she's going to try and hire some Southfield residents, work with the high schools in terms of any kind of apprenticeship or internship to reach out to the educational system in Southfield, if she could respond to that. But I'm in favor of the personal property exemption. Thank you.
Public hearing is still open. If there's anyone that'd like to speak to this issue, please come forward. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening. Just for reiteration, this is a repeat.
Talking to the microphone. I don't know if these things are working or not.
Marcy and Turner, 21700 Mata Avenue, Southfield, Michigan, 48075. Yes, I'd just like to reiterate that I'm not sure why it would be no effect on the city of Southfield if this is a 5-year abatement of personal property tax. I would love to have some further explanation by the company of why we would have no effect negatively of $200,000 odd of no taxes revenues for that 5-year period. I don't think it was clearly stated, and I'm still against the abatement. Thank you.
Public hearing is still open. If there's anyone who'd like to speak to this issue, please come forward. You have 3 minutes.
Gerard Mullen, Post Office Box 155, Southfield, Michigan, 48037. Well, for the last 7 years, I've talked against tax abatements, and the previous speaker doesn't understand how the law was changed in 2012 regarding personal property tax. The people that are going to take the bite the bullet on this is the state, not the city. It won't have one effect. And Mr. Fraser tried to point that out, and Shelley tried to point that out twice. And so I think people should know that. It will have no effect whatsoever. It won't change anything.
Thank you. Public hearing is still open. I'd like to recognize any other residents that would like to speak to this issue.
Yes, Keith Harris with All Race and Life Matter, P.O. Box 2769, Southfield 48037. You know, I bought an old structure here too with a septic tank. Why ain't I getting a tax abatement? I approve of tax abatements. But why the 1,600 homeowners who bought these structures that's 74 years old, struggling homeowners, why aren't we getting a tax abatement? That's all I want to know. Thank you.
Are there any other residents that would like to speak to this issue? If not, then public hearing is closed. Would you like to respond to any one of the questions that came up?
The reform group has pledged to work with Oakland County Michigan Works, Southfield, to hire Southfield residents, and as well to participate with our partnership in the Southfield Public Schools to engage the students and showcase different careers in cosmetics and different technologies in this field, and so to be involved with the school district and encourage internships and the like at the facility.
I understand where everybody's coming from, obviously. So here's the thing. I think in the state of Michigan, when I first moved in, when I told people I was a manufacturer, everybody thought I was automotive. And I think it's awesome to have, not only for me, but I would love to empower other women. When I bought this company, I had $18 left in my name. So I built this company literally from ground zero by myself. So for me, I really empower other women. I think it doesn't matter where women come from. I would love to open the door so other women and other kids or girls who graduate high school and want to go to college to say, hey, here's a career that they may never even have thought of before. So the only way to get this type of a position would be to either go to the East Coast or West Coast, or sometimes in Ohio or Procter & Gamble. Well, we're here in Michigan. This is unique. It's different. We're organic, we're FDA, we're Cosmos, we're building other brands for people. It's a clean environment. So I think in so many ways, it's a positive thing, not only for the South, for the city itself, but for Detroit. Because again, people think when I say manufacturing, oh, you're an automotive. No, we do cosmetics. And they're like, where? So it's an interesting thing to have. We don't smell, people around there will not smell oil and all these things. Like I said, they'll smell ylang-ylang or geranium or something like that. So I think for me, I'm just thankful and I'm blessed and I feel honored to be in this country and to have been able to be given the opportunity to be here and build something. So one of my visions in life is to empower other women. As my company grows, I want people to come in and see. I want other women to come in and say, hey, if she can do it, I can do it. So even if it may not be, not everybody's meant to be a CEO in this world, but at least if you give people hope, you give women hope, that's the best thing in life. That's all it takes. So that's really what I want to say. That's my vision in life, and that's the reason I do what I do. Not only for me, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to be Bill Gates, let me just tell you. None of us are. There's only one. But at the end of the day, we all want to leave a positive thing when we leave this earth. We're going to be remembered for the things that we leave behind. So my vision is I want to build a company. I want to empower women. As the company grows, I want to be out there. I want to talk to the high school kids. I want to talk to the high school girls and say, hey, yes, we're all given us certain things in life. It's what you do with it that matters. So I think that's really all I want to say to all of these guys. That's my life journey. I didn't get to where I got to without hard work, without kicking, screaming, lying, and kicking, screaming, crying, and everything else. But that's life. So
All right.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Yes, thank you. Yes. All right. Is that everything? All right, Council. Mr. Frazier.
Yeah, I would like to say that I appreciate the things that you said. I can recall when I was in high school, I took chemistry. I just wouldn't go through my brain the application, the real application of chemistry. And I think it would be very eye-opening for you to even lecture at one of the high school chemistry classes, to let them know, if you do well, this is the kind of thing that chemistry is. And, I learned that after it was too late for me to get a good grade in chemistry. Well, it was too late for me to get a good grade in chemistry. So, and I appreciate your offer to work with the Partnership Council. That's just a real good touchstone for the business world to work with young people to turn them on to different things. Sure.
Mr. Brightwell?
Mr. Frazier covered my comments almost exactly, really. I was thinking about chemistry and little people and young people, and letting them know that if you're good in chemistry, you can go on and do good things in the cosmetic field.
Mr. Mandelbaum?
Yes, Shelley, one of the speakers who came up for the public hearing, I think she had some questions about how this is not negatively affecting the Southfield budget. Can you please explain,
Sure.
so everyone is clear on how this works and why it's not negatively affecting the budget, but also how it's not?
When the state of Michigan modified the personal property tax law, allowing some companies to be exempt, they came through and made adjustments to, maybe Fred, you could expound on this a little bit more, but
If I may, in 2014, the state of Michigan capped personal property tax portion of our revenue stream at the December 31st, 2012 level. It cannot go below that. It cannot go above that. We could triple the amount of personal property coming into the city of Southfield, and we would only collect the amount that we were getting at December 31st of 2012. So we were capped at December 31st in 2012. The state took that action in 2014.
Right, so the city's not, just for clarification, the city's not losing any money on this.
No.
We're staying flat, we're staying even.
Absolutely. So, and again, this new investment that we're helping to spur at the Reforma Group by enabling them to pay less taxes is enabling her to put more money into her facility, which will be reassessed by our assessor, and the real property taxes will increase. So, there will be a net effect, a positive effect on the city. Plus, as Councilman Fracassi mentioned, the area needs upgrading. Her investment is going to upgrade that whole area, and we're going to ensure that the rest of the area is brought up to speed as well. So it's going to really improve the whole community, and then she also attracts clients from around the world to the facility currently, and with this new expansion that'll grow, bringing more people into the city, using our hotels and our restaurants as visitors, and potentially, long-term new businesses. But the short-term effect will definitely be positive. There'll be more real property taxes being paid at that location.
Thank you.
There's not anything else. I'll entertain a motion.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the application for exemption of new personal property taxes for tax abatement. Support.
It's been properly moved by Ms. Morris and supported by Ms. Taylor that we approve the 5-year personal property tax abatement. Are there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? All right, it's approved. Good luck to you. We wish you well.
Did you remove the next public hearing?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mention that, did I? No. Sorry. We did have to pull item C under public hearings for this evening. So,
Thank you.
We're all set for the night. All right. Our next portion of the meeting is communications. Our first request is Ms. Sonia Simpson Gardner. Sonia Simpson Gardner here. All right. Our next request is Ms. Pamela Gerald.
Good evening, Council, again. And I'd like to say good evening to the people that are watching the meeting at home. You know, when a person gets up here to talk and say something for 3 minutes, you have a right to say what you want to say. But we hope that you have some integrity and some proof about what you say. Now, there's allegations that I have the Southfield Citizens Oversight Committee and that I am not concerned about residents in the city of Southfield providing this oversight committee. And I'm going to say that with finger quotes, oversight committee. 90% of the issues that I get up here and talk about do not relate to me personally in any kind of way. And they haven't for many years. Just for the people that have said that, and you talked about Sapphire Apartments. We have gone to court with Sapphire residents on at least 3 occasions. Recently, they were in court. We went. We were there for the entire court case. But to my dismay, the city of Southfield has allowed them another extension. Now, the city goes after people for not trimming their bushes, not cutting down their trees. As soon as it finished snowing, it's 6 or 7 feet, and I'm just being kind of dramatic here. Why didn't you shovel your sidewalk? But you're allowing a person who owns North Park Towers, aka Sapphire Apartments, to still be a member on the DDA, and you're still allowing this slumlord to just have all of these extensions and extensions. So if you're going to do that for a person that cannot afford to keep up this structure that's collecting rent where seniors live and kids live, you need to get off the backs of the residents that are at least paying their taxes because they don't cut a tree in time or trim a bush in time or shovel their snow in time. There's a few people up here that got money from this guy for their campaigns. And I'll say it again. I was upset with Dan Brightwell because he went over there under one auspice, got $1,000, and never gave us the findings of an investigation. But I'm happy that you gave the money back. So get on Sapphire now.
Time's up.
I know.
Our next request is for recognition is Gerard Mullen.
Good evening. My name is Gerard Mullen, Post Office Box 155, Southfield, Michigan, 48037. Mr. Chairman, for many, many years, I have advocated that Cable 15 televise the Planning Commission's meetings and the Zoning Board of Appeals meetings. It was nice to learn last year that Cable 15 began televising these meetings, all thanks to Councilwoman Lenny Taylor's initiative. Tonight, I'd like to thank Ms. Taylor. And also, I'd like to ask this council to take one more additional step and televise council's COW meetings. That is your Committee of the Whole meetings. It was stated at a recent council meeting that you folks plan to move your COW meetings to council's chambers, these chambers. So why not televise these COW meetings? Also, I'd like to point out that Cable 15 has a wider viewing audience than you might otherwise think. Much wider. For example, last November, my wife, Pamela Gerald, and I went to a Clinton Township Dem meeting in Macomb County. And just before the meeting started, a gray-haired lady thanked both of us for speaking up at these Southfield City Council meetings. Yes, you heard me right. Southfield. At first, we were both confused because neither of us had ever seen this woman from Clinton Township before. And we told her so. And we told her we were puzzled by her statement. Quickly, she cleared up the mystery. It turns out that she has AT&T Uverse for cable, and thus she can watch any of the many municipal cable channels here in southeastern Michigan. Think about this for a moment. If an elderly woman far away in Macomb County is watching these Southfield City Council meetings on a regular basis, instead of watching the Real Housewives of Atlanta, you folks here must be doing something right. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next request is Ms. Stacy Jackson.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Stacy Jackson, 21685 Rougewood Drive, Southfield, Michigan, 48033. There's a gentleman in the audience tonight that often refers to me as his better half. I just wanted to publicly thank him for being my stronger half. Last week I came before you to speak about the septic tank issue, an issue that our family and many others in our community has been doing for about 3 years. During that time, I was asked, quite frankly, what is it that we want? Last week, I mentioned how 18 gas station owners were able to sign their names to a list handed to a city council person, and that person championed that initiative for the gas station owners for weeks. It only took those gas station owners one time to appear before this council, before the council publicly responded. The mayor co-signed and echoed and said, yes, perhaps we need to send this back to planning for a different resolve. I am stunned because it's as if all of you have forgotten that nearly 5 months ago, 60 residents from across the city, that included 20 association presidents representing hundreds of homes, came before you about this matter. During that time, we actually handed City Council a list of activities or options, demands, with some options that could amicably serve the city and the residents. So to be asked 5 months later, what is it that you want, tells the residents that what you all did was skim that, balled it up into a paper wad, and threw it into your wastebaskets like you were Steph Curry. What really is happening here? I was able to find some literature because last meeting and the meetings before in the council conference room, the number of 1,600 septic tanks remaining in the city rang a bell to me. I'd like to read you a city document from June 23, 1997. It says in part, quote, "It has been determined by the results of the Oakland County Health Department study of septic tile field waste water disposal systems in the city of Southfield that slightly over 1/2 of the systems tested have either failed or are failing." It further states, in quote, "Approximately 50% of the 1,600 homes failed. So if there were 1,600 homes 25 years ago, and over 800 of them failed then, why do we still have such a large number of homeowners with septic tanks?" There has been no enforcement of this ordinance whatsoever. And it is my duty to let you all know that you've been derelict in your duties in that. And at this point, when you allow one population to get away with it for 20 years and then roll it out in 2016 on a new population is unfair.
Our next request is Mr. Keith Harris.
How you doing again? All Race and Life Matter. P.O. Box 2769, zip code 48037. Today, I just applaud my woman because she's so direct when she come up here and confront this honorable body on why did you wait on enforcing this ordinance. But also, I'm not going to even go back to the septic tank ordinance. I'm going to talk about our policing today and apologizing to some of our police officers for being falsely accused. For a few months now, we've had somebody come up here and falsely accuse our officers, go in front of the downtown police station, falsely accusing our officers. And I just think that's wrong. I just think it's wrong to keep saying what is not true. We got some bad apples everywhere, but to come in front of this honorable body for the past 3-4 months and falsely accuse these officers, we have had some problems, but I can no longer sit here and watch this particular individual lie on some of our officers, especially, since my son is planning on being one of your officers one day. So on the behalf of our community, which we talked about this today in my community, it wasn't the septic tanks, it was the law enforcement officers, and people are grown very tired of this particular person spitting this bad venom on our law enforcement officers from Detroit to all over 14th district meetings. This we can't have no more. And I will be speaking against this particular individual if it continues. Thank you.
Our next request is Mr. Harold Hill.
Hello, honorable body. My name is Harold Hill, 22300 Seminole Street, Southfield, Michigan. Today I came to talk to you about rumors. Last October, I've heard a rumor that Beechwood would be closed. So I posted on my page, Harold Hill for Council, that last call for Beechwood. For those who wanted to golf there, better go up there by the 24th. I'm hoping I was wrong, so I presented the information because a good friend of mine, who shall remain nameless, he told me of this issue, and he golfs there weekly. And I'm proud to say that our golf course is ADA compliant. That means handicap accessible, and it probably has saved his life or been at least physical therapy for him. You have 2 courses, but sometimes variety is the key. And I am glad that I got a chance to speak up for him, because some people, that's why I rise. Because some people don't have that voice, and I said I would present his case. And so today, the decision to close Beechwood was expected. It was expected. But I wanted to make sure that I presented the case for those who really do like golf, for those who have the access. And the workers have presented the information to me that Beechwood was even handicap accessible. Because when he went, he didn't know that. One of the persons who just passed away told him that, and he's been golfing for the last 9 years. So I am proud to be a Southfielder. I'm hoping that this is temporary. I didn't see it on the consent agenda by saying temporary closure of Beechwood Golf Course. It just said Beechwood Golf Course. But since we don't see the consent agenda anymore, and thank you for putting it at least on the screen, people might not know that. So I'm just here to say they will be closing, and hopefully they will prepare it and make it a better experience, because the Southfield residents present and need that. A lot of things that we do in municipalities, I heard earlier, are not for money-making purposes. And to tell you the truth, golf courses were at one time, with the right marketing, once again, and it did pay its own way. Once again, it can do that. I can see some areas that, well, we'll speak about that next time. But it will pay for itself with the right marketing. We do need more signs. A lot of people don't know what the amenities that it has. And I got a chance to attend the My Brother's Keeper program, which was at the golf course, and it's a beautiful area. You should go take a look at it. And to have it sit there, you wouldn't want to be at another Northland. Thank you.
Our next request for recognition is Marcian Turner.
Mr. President, while she's on her way to the microphone, I want to make it clear that what we voted on this evening was a temporary closing of the Beechwood Golf Course, while the Parks and Rec has an opportunity to evaluate what's going on. So Mr. Hill did say that, but I want to make it clear that that's what we voted on a temporary closing to give the Parks and Rec the opportunity to figure out what's going on, what it's going to take to repair it, and bring the resolution back to the council. Thank you.
Mr. Frazier.
Thank you. Honorable Council, Marcian Turner, 21700 Mata Avenue, Southfield, Michigan. I want to speak to you on two items tonight. And the first one that I came before you several months ago, late fall, late summer, was about damage that was done to my home on the lawn as a result of GFL not taking brush off of the grass, picking it up and putting it in the chipper timely. It sat there for 3 weeks because the chipper was down, which I understand, I found out. But it destroyed my lawn at the same time. So nothing was done at that time because I came before council. I thought I would hear something from council or the department. I didn't get a call until last week, which is March, from Mr. A.J. Jensen, and he told me he was the supervisor of the Water and Sewage Department, and he explained that he was going to make a work order and suggested that I call Justin Beck, who's the supervisor, also at 7:30 in the morning to catch him, his words, so that I could discuss this matter with him. And I asked him, I said, do you communicate with other supervisors such as Justin Beck? And he said, I do, but maybe you need to call at 7:30 in the morning before he goes out. And I said, I'm retiree. I don't get up at 7:30 in the morning. Haven't gotten up at 7:30 in 10 years. So I don't think I should have to do that. I think you should do your due diligence and communicate with him yourself. I'm bringing this up because I want to make sure that it is followed up, and maybe it needs to go over Mr. A.J. Jensen's head to the department head, because I think something needs to be done. Spring is here. I'd like my lawn repaired, and I think I've waited long enough. The last thing I'd like to say is about being a golfer at Beechwood. I've golfed there in the league several years, and I'm very disappointed that it's closing. I do understand it because there were a couple times in each season that we could not golf because of the water. I would ask council to look at doing some grant funding proposals to look at getting funding to help incur the cost of the repairs that need to be done at the golf course. And also looking at, for more marketing exposure, looking at Lawrence Tech and OCC as having golf classes there to give exposure to the golf courses. Thank you.
I can't speak for Lawrence Tech, but OCC already does have courses there. We've been having them for a long time. But what you said, your point is well taken. All right, Mr. Gregory Keeler is our next individual.
Mr. Chair, I'll just walk it up.
Yes, Mr. Mandelbaum.
To the previous speaker, to Ms. Turner, the Public Works Supervisor is over there in the blue shirt, and I'm sure he'd be happy to discuss it with you.
Craig Keeler, 25170 Circle Drive. I come to speak to you today about eliminating Black History Month, saying first Black to any position. Seeing how history does not matter in the city of Southfield. Ordinance 1571 started in 1999, which Ms. Jackson tried to point out. We wanted to go to 2019, which was what she told you was the wrong date to look at it at, and that you can skew any process by moving that way. You had to go back to when it originally began, that ordinance being put in, to see the problem. If the 20 years do not matter from when this ordinance was first put in, we should just eliminate all history. This year, the city plans to spend $40 million on sewer, water lines, sidewalks, and construction, but no plans for Circle Drive. Lawrence Tech wasn't forgotten. They are also in that process. Why are we left out? The Castle Law states a person has the right to assert his needs or to assert his right to his property if it feels is being threatened or under attack. The residents of Southfield, the residents of Circle Drive, feel we are under attack by the city. That's why history matters.
Our next request for recognition is Toby Rhodes.
Toby Rhodes, 17001, New Jersey, 248-569-7189. It's really interesting that in 2015, Northland closed and just looked like a closed mall. 4 years later, after the city of Southfield has been, I don't know what they've been doing, it looks like a total, complete mess. After 4 years, it had built a mall in 4 years. The reason why I'm so upset about Northland is I used to go there. I went there when I was a little child. I went to Northland. A lot of good memories, a lot of goodwill. There's a lot of equity in that site. Now, the only reason I can think, and the thing about closing that site is the failure is spreading out. Because now the HAP building is looking for tenants and spread it out to the Sapphire. And I'm wondering if it's going to spread out to 9 Mile and take out the IBM building and then the office building across the street. Now, I kind of wonder, why is the city of Southfield intentionally sabotaging that site? And then I go back to the homosexual, the sexual degenerate, the New York sissy, the con artist from Manhattan. And I say to myself, he must be using that as some kind of slush fund to pay off his buddies and his friends. So if they need some work or they need some cash, you can say, hey, well, we'll just do something at the Northland site and nobody knows and nobody cares. And what I find interesting is that, you know, so many people in Southfield just seem to accept the failure that is Northland. When you stop fighting, you die. And the community of Southfield is dying. Now, I also notice that the homosexual, the New York sissy, the con artist.
Yes.
Somebody say something?
I think we need to take a 5-minute recess.
Okay. Let's support.
And turn off the microphone.
We're recessed for 5 minutes. All right, we'd like to bring the meeting back to order. Before we continue on with the meeting, I just want to make a few comments as to why we took the recess and left out. I think anybody that was watching or was sitting in here kind of has an idea, but the point is, this is a professional meeting. There's certain levels of decorum that should be maintained during this meeting, and we're not going to tolerate people that are going to come in here and be belligerent, that are going to spew negativity. This is an inclusive community that invites all to be a part of this community. And this council made a determination a while back that anybody that comes up here and breaks that decorum, if you will, that we would turn off the microphones. We would leave a recess for a period of time, and at which time that person will then will determine what to do with that person at that point in time. So with that said, we're going to continue on to the meeting with the communications, and just with the understanding that, again, this will not be tolerated, and you will be potentially at a point, depending on the level of severity of the offense, could potentially be removed from the meeting as well. So just keep that in mind for those who do want to come forward and speak before council. Next, I'd like to recognize Ms. Yolanda Haynes.
My address from the prior. I'm just a little upset by what happened. I think this is a disgrace, and it's not a one person. This stuff has been going on for a while. We're not a clown show here. You know, you talked about the person in Mount Clemens. There are people that see this stuff and look at this and wonder if they want to move here. You know, when you come in here and you spew all of this hatred and this foolishness and this argument, it makes our city look bad. And for people that come before this podium, have your facts together, you know, and have your head together, too, for that matter. You know, if you need to get checked out, get checked out. But you educate yourself before you come here, because we need to deal with issues and not deal with people. It's not about attacking the person or what's going on in their lives and what they're doing. We need to deal with things that confront this city in a godly manner, in a professional manner. I say godly because I've heard some people get up here and say that they're Christians. Well, I don't know if God would be happy with some of the stuff that some of the people do if they say they're Christians doing it, because things are supposed to be done in love. You know, and if you're talking about, oh, Dr. King, I never saw him call people racist names, even they called him names. I never saw him spit on anybody. I never saw anything where he fought anybody or yelled and screamed at anybody. He walked hand in hand with people, and his words were peace, peacefulness. And we need to bring that back to this council with these citizens that come before. And if you got some issues that aren't being addressed, you need to pull people aside instead of using this podium as a place to grandstand. I mean, we have our kids watching, we have our families watching. I mean, what are we representing? What are we saying when we do these things? You know, this is hate, and it's a bad spirit that has to stop, and it has to be bind. This spirit has to leave this place, this podium, right now, and we should not be tolerating this. And the people that are for this city need to stand up and speak out against it, and you need to come to this mic and stop letting the fools prevail, because this is what it is. And if you want to talk about scripture, there's scriptures that talk about don't answer a fool according to his folly. And if you got that up here, just let them go on and be fools by themselves. A soft answer turneth away wrath. Grievous words stir up anger. We got people coming in with their anger, just spewing it like hatred and like a virus. This is enough. I am tired of it. My family's tired of it. People out here are tired of it. And people are mumbling because they're afraid to say anything. Well, I'm not scared of anybody. I'm not scared of you, whoever you are. I'm going to say what I got to say, and you need to stop it. You need to watch how you're living, because you know what? And tomorrow is not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed, and how you treat people is going to matter, because you never know when you might need that policeman, or for that matter, the mayor or the neighbor. You don't know what people are when they're walking down the street. They have no titles. They're people. There are people helping people. We just talked about today how a policeman helped an elderly lady because she couldn't use her walker in the snow. Nobody cared what party she belonged to, what life she lived, or who she was. He saw somebody that needed help. And this is what we need to start doing in this city. Stop mumbling, start being a part of the solution and not a part of the problem.
We have one more person be recognized. Please give your name and address for the
Good
record.
evening. Thank you for hearing me tonight. My name is Patricia Maxwell. My address is 18156 Hilton Drive, Southfield, Michigan, 48075. I've been a resident in Southfield for maybe 28 years. I just want to speak on the golf course. My daughter is a University High student. She plays golf for Southfield A&T. And it's just really sad to hear that they're closing, because that's their home course. She's been playing golf, I think, the first time she picked up a golf club, which she was about 6 years old, my husband took her there. They play every year there. And it's really sad. It's like a one-stop shop. You go there, you can putt, drive, and play golf, opposed to here at Evergreen, which we love this course as well, but we don't have the driving range here. So I just wanted to speak on, even though it's temporary, I hope that you guys are considering other ways and avenues to basically keep that course open. And on an upbeat note, my daughter just recently had a birthday party where I took maybe 20 kids out to Top Golf. They loved it. I will say I was trying to make some golfers and trying to add girls to the team. Out of the kids that I took, 5 of them now play for Southfield A&T, have never had a golf club in their hand before. So we do have kids here that's becoming interested in playing golf, and I hope you guys just consider, keeping it open. Thank you. Thank you for hearing me.
Thanks. Right, that concludes communications. Council,
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Fracassi.
I'd like to take a moment and congratulate our ladies who played in the finals, state finals at Calvin College this weekend. They happened to lose, but they gave all their hearts to winning. They come up a little short. I'm really, really proud that they've gone that far. I think they ended up with 30 wins and 1 loss. And they did a great job, and I hope that they come back next year and beat the pants off of the other team. So anyway, and the other thing I'd like to say is just that I don't think there's a councilman sitting up here or mayor that doesn't want to try to keep that beach woods open. And we're going to try everything we can, and we're putting our Parks Recreation Director into a mode to look at it and see if she can come up with some kind of magic. So anyways, I appreciate your comments.
Mr. Brightwell.
Just briefly, on March 30th, this is a veterans event. On March 30th, from 11 to 3 p.m. here in room 115 in the Parks and Recreation Building, the Michigan Women's Veterans Empowerment Group will be hosting a Money Smart event for veterans and also all citizens who wish to attend. That's the 30th of March from 11 to 3 p.m. It'll be a Money Smarts event for all veterans and individuals. And I just want to mention also that this past year I was honored to be accepted into the and graduate from the Michigan Political Leadership Program on March the 7th of this year. The Michigan Political Leadership Program is a nonpartisan, nonprofit 10-minute program that brings together all political leaders' perspective with different perspectives, people from different walks of life, different communities, and delve into key policy issues affecting Michigan. And we also had, just so happened, we had a farmer in our group. We had numerous individuals that worked for the state of Michigan, and also we had a mayor from Western Michigan. We came together once a month in different cities all over the state, and that dealt with those particular issues. And just as a note, obviously, I'm probably blowing my own horn. Somebody seems to perhaps not appreciate I'm blowing my own horn, but it is an election year, and I did complete this program. It was a good program. Notable people from the city of Southfield that went through this program was Miss Nancy Banks, our former city clerk, and also our current state senator, Mr. Jeremy Moss. So it was a lovely program. You get 12 individuals, 12 males, 12 females, 6. It was a good mixture of Democrats and Republicans. Speaking on my feet here, I can't get the numbers right. But anyway, it was a very good program. It was insightful. We learned quite a bit about the city, about the state of Michigan, and also state government, local government, and I would do it again. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Mandelbaum.
Thank you. With the beginning of spring, we were just talking, a lot of residents have been asking about leaf pickup. That will begin next week on Monday, April 1st, the same day, and they will pick it up the same day as your trash is collected. Also, this Thursday at the Southfield Public Library between 9:30 and 11, the Oakland County Clerk will bring her mobile office to the parking lot in the Southfield Library. So feel free, if you have anything you need done at the county level, to be here at the Southfield Library Thursday between 9:30 and 11. The other thing I wanted to mention is another Oakland County update. There's been a lot of news and talk about the recent measles outbreak, and unfortunately the locations keep spreading. There are vaccination clinics this entire week at the health department, both the one in Southfield at Greenfield and Catalpa and in Pontiac. If you do not know if you've had vaccinations, or if you're not aware if you've ever had measles before, there's a lot of information that people need to be aware of. Please check the Oakland County website for specifically the Oakland County Health Department. They have a hotline set up specifically. Please make sure you get your vaccinations if you don't have them. Recently, even I think there's been 18 confirmed cases throughout the county, and the list grows from locations from downtown Detroit all the way out to West Bloomfield. And we just want everyone to be safe. So please, if you have any symptoms, they ask that you don't go to the urgent care or the hospital, because now those sites are exposed. Call your doctor, call the hospital ahead of time, because they will need to put you into a quarantine area just to double check. So you can contact the Oakland County Health Department at 248-858-1280 if you have any questions, or you can also go to their website. But please be safe and keep everyone around you safe. Thank you.
Mr. Cruz?
Yes, Mr. Brightwell.
One additional item. I forgot to mention that our esteemed city administrator also graduated from the Michigan Political Leadership Program back in the day.
Okay. Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Fracassi.
I get two messages. One's the 1st of April, one's the 9th of April. Which one is it, Larry? The leaf pickup?
First week of April.
First week in April.
April 1st.
Okay. Gotcha.
April 1st. That message is running on cable, message board out front, and on our community relations will be putting it here. The message is running on electronic board out front, on cable, and it will be on Facebook.
Is your mic not on?
That message will be running on cable 15, as well as electronic board and Facebook. It's on electronic board now. I spoke to community relations this afternoon about it, and it was already in motion.
Councilwoman Taylor.
Yes, I just wanted to remind everyone that March is Women's History Month. I wanted to let everyone know that nationally it was established in 1987 after almost a decade of lobbying and campaigning for the importance of teaching the significance of women in American history. We have a whole lot of women that made history here in the city of Southfield, as well as neighboring cities, Lathrop, Berkeley, and other areas. Cable 15 has also devoted some of their features in their cable guide on women's history. I just want everyone to remember that none of us would be here if it wasn't for a woman. So we need to take time to.
That's not fair,
Wait a minute here. Out of order.
So the month of March is one way of showing celebration and appreciation for the women and the history that we've made in everyone's lives. Thank you.
Or a man.
There you go, right.
Let me just say this to you. Jeannie McDonald was the very first lady in the city council in 1957.
Yes, and we need to remember that history, and that's what I'm saying. We need to rejoice on that and celebrate it and honor our women of history. And I'd like to see us do more of that. and I will personally take that on.
Well, next year will be the 100-year anniversary of women getting the right to vote, so we
Yes.
definitely need
Yes.
to work on that
Yes.
then for next year.
On my,
How
on
about
my
that?
already list.
All right.
Thank
cool.
you.
All right, anything else from council? All right, Mr. Mayor?
Once again, Mr. Montalban has stolen some of my thunder. I did want to mention that yard waste will resume on Monday the 1st, but since that's already been made clear, I do want to talk a little bit about, we've had a lot of windstorms, there's a lot of branches down, particularly dead branches. And as I drive around the city, I am seeing little piles of sticks at the curb. These will not be picked up. The little sticks jam the chipper. They need to be put in a bag or in a can so that they can be dumped in the recycling yard waste truck. And speaking of chippers, we are trying a new approach this year with some new equipment and more city staff rather than GFL doing the chipping. We hope that this will be an improvement on the pickup of limbs and branches. And since this is the first week on the 1st, we may not get to every pile of branches that are out at the street, but they will be picked up. Secondly, I want to remind everybody that this week, Wednesday, the 27th, we will have a tornado drill. The county sirens will go off. Do not be alarmed, but do think about how you would prepare for such an emergency if it should occur. And finally, this is unfortunately, we've had it's come and gone, but it's back again. We've had an alert issued by the United States Postal Service regarding people tampering with mailboxes. There have been several reports in the city of people going along the street and looking in people's mailboxes, checks missing, that sort of thing. So if anyone should see this, there's two things that you need to do. Call the Southfield Police at 911 to report this. Also, the United States Postal Service would like to be informed of this as well. Any theft, tampering, or vandalism to a mailbox, and which is a federal crime. And the number is 877-876-2455. Again, that's 877-876-2455. And again, please be on the lookout for anybody going from mailbox to mailbox. If it looks suspicious, our police officers always say better to be alert and report it, and even if it's turns out to be a legitimate person at the mailbox, our police department would rather be going out and checking rather than having to take a crime report later that something is missing. Thank you.
All right. Administration?
Yes, Mr. President, late Friday afternoon, I sent out an additional council item. I am asking for council action. Late last, can you hear me now? It's on. Late last, is that better?
Yeah.
Late last Friday afternoon, I sent out a council item titled Continuation of an Officer to the Oakland County Automobile Theft task force. This item came to my attention late Friday morning. We are requesting action. I'm asking that council approve the continuation and the assignment of a Southfield Police Department officer to the Oakland County Automobile Theft Task Force with the Automobile Theft Prevention Authority reimbursing 60% of the officer's salary and benefits for the miscellaneous vehicle and equipment costs. I'm asking that council also approve the housing of the Oakland County Automobile Task Force in the Southfield Police Department headquarters building. We've been doing this for the past year. And for a longer period of time. A year ago, they started housing the program in our PD, and the reimbursement was only 50%. For this year, it'll be 60%. I'm also asking that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the agreement with the Auto Theft Prevention Authority, subject to the review of the agreement as to form by the city attorney's office.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Perkasi?
I move the recommended resolution that was put before us just recently for the meeting by the administrator.
Support. It's been moved by Mr. Perkasi, supported by, I think Mandelbaum got you on this one, Mr. Mandelbaum, that we approve the continuation of an officer assignment at the Oakland County Automobile Theft Task Force. Are there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? All right,
Thank you,
we're all
Mr.
set.
President. I have one final item, just a comment for the viewing audience. It was mentioned during the study session prior to this evening's meeting. City Council on March 1st has identified 6 goals. The second goal is the development of a Beechwood strategy, a comprehensive strategy that covers not just the Beechwood Center, but the golf course, the driving range, the pavilions, looking at that entire center. And given the amount of discussion the last few weeks on that topic, I felt it important that the audience know that that's the number 2 goal of this council.
Great, thank you. Madam Attorney?
Not at this portion.
Okay. Madam Clerk? All right. Mr. Assessor?
Good evening, Council. Mr. Mayor. Good evening. I'm here before you today to ask Council if you would schedule a public hearing for April 15th, 2019 for the purpose of confirming the single lot special assessment role in accordance with Charter 1, Section 1.3 of the City Code.
I also move, Mr. Chairman.
Support.
It's been moved by Mr. Perkasi, supported by Ms. Morris, that we schedule a public hearing for the item the assessor has requested. Are there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
Thank you, Council.
All set.
For what date?
Oh, that is for April 15th,
Okay.
2019, sir. Thank you. All right. We don't have anything to schedule, any ordinances. I'll entertain a motion to go to closed session.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move that we go into closed session.
Support.
Been moved by Mr. Mandelbaum, supported by Mr. Frazier, that we move into closed session. Madam Clerk?
Cruz,
Yes.
Fracassi,
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
Taylor.
Yes.
Mandelbaum.
Yes.
Brightwell.
Yes.
Motion to go into closed
All right,
session.
we're moving to closed session.